There are many aspirational places that people want to live in the world. Los Angeles, New York, and Atlanta. But the place that's really different is Miami. Miami is a place where all things combine. Rich people, great weather, awesome entertainment, beautiful women, and of course, with opportunities in almost any industry. And people want to be there. Unfortunately, Miami isn't always what it seems. There was a recent report that said that more than 50% were struggling to make ends meet under typical cost of living conditions. I know that most of you can say that that's happening almost everywhere, but in Miami, it's really, really bad. Even with the state of Florida not having state income tax, it's still difficult. People in Miami-Dade County fall below the survival budget. That's over 54% of them. And when you look on social media, that's a different story, especially when you look at the beautiful women that are online. I swear when I look at Miami, I never see a person that's broke. And you always look at all of these beautiful women that are there, especially in the Black community. Not all of them are Black American. You have some ladies that are Haitian, some ladies that are Afro-Latina, but not only are they not doing very well, they're also facing certain levels of racism.
So, talk to dude, whatever. And so basically after that, he said, yeah, it's a no for me. Basically because, you're a little thicker than what we like. And you have stretch marks and that you have a lot of visible tattoos. All right, cool. I was okay with it's a no first. But you went into detail. I was like, wait a second. I ain't never had nobody tell me no shit like that. But it's cool. It's a majority white club, so I really wasn't banking on getting that job, but I was just like, let me just go.
Now, in this case, this was a chick that was, what the glamour sounds? Yeah, she's a dancer and she's trying to apply to get to work. But in Miami, because you have so many people out there that are rich and non-Black, she couldn't get the job. And according to the guy, he just came out and told her, like, you're too thick. Which also is an underlying story to be told about Miami. There is a lot of subtle racism, particularly from Latinos or other groups towards Blacks. Not necessarily your traditional white on Black racism, but also racism coming from other groups. And this even includes Black women who are exceptionally fine.
I was once hired to be an atmosphere model for Mr. Jones. I was paid $1,000 to go to this club, sit down, be at this event, look cute, and leave. Now, in the room, I was one of 3 Black women in a space that had maybe 500 people. So we were there to meet the quota, the right ratio of Black women that was okay for that night. Now, I was getting paid. I was not really part of the event. I was just there. About 2 weeks later, I met with a promoter and he's like, hey, let's hang out. And then afterwards, we're going to go out to the club, blah, blah, blah. I was outside at the time. I said, all right, cool. So I'm with myself and another one of my girls. We pull up to Mr. Jones and I see him talking back and forth with the promoter. I'm really cool with him. And he comes back and he's like, yeah, he says there's too many Black girls in our crew.
Now, in this case, you have this beautiful lady who was hired by a venue that, only had 3 ladies. So if they're getting into the clubs, it's okay if you're like 5 or less, right? But then she came back a few weeks later with more Black women. Anyone know what happened?
So outside of myself, there was about 5 other Black women I didn't know, but they were attractive Black women, different sizes, different complexions, etc. We were denied entry. Okay, so this is the part of Miami where I say, I'm the same person that was paid to be in the establishment to meet a requirement of people that was turned away weeks later because there was too many Black people in my crew.
Down. Too many Black women in the crew. That's crazy. But it's not only for Black women in Miami. This is also happening to Black women who are just visiting Miami.
So I'm from New York and I just got back from Miami like a week ago. And I was just sitting back and reflecting on the cultural differences between New York and Miami. And one of the things that I was just thinking about, which nobody really talks about, is this weird underlying obsession with girls being like exotic and foreign.
Now, this sister is a very beautiful Haitian American lady. She lives in New York City, was going to party in New York, and she makes it clear in New York City, everybody's proud to be black. Everybody's proud to be who they are, or Afro-Latino. Like, people are not really tripping that much in New York. But Miami is a little different, and she continues to explain why.
I really hate using those terms because they just like, they ick me out. Like, I feel like it dehumanizes people so much when you say, oh my God, you're exotic. I'm not a fucking bird, but for the sake of the video, I'm using those terms because that is word for word what I was hearing other people saying there. I noticed that there was this very strange obsession with being like mixed with something, which I'm really not used to in New York, because I feel like in New York, it's like you are what you are and you're very proud of that. Like, if you're black, you're black and you say that and you're proud of that. Like, if you're Latino, you say that you're proud of that. If you're Asian, you're Asian. It's like everything, because it's very diverse. People are very accepting, yada, yada, yada.
So the anti-black sentiment is really out there in Miami. Now, let's combine all of what we've heard today. We've seen that Miami has a lot of opportunity, but there is something going on against black people. That's even in the entertainment scene. You have one lady who is a dancer that couldn't get hired, and then you have certain instances where you have beautiful women who are saying, listen, we got paid to come to this club, but it was only 3 of us. And the moment that we start showing up in bigger numbers, they don't want anything to do with us. It's the same thing that I saw happening in Los Angeles. But the real situation is this. If a lot of these women in Miami are basically being kept out of some of these clubs, and then match it up with some of the poverty, let's put 2 and 2 together. What do we get?
Literally, I got approached at the beach. I was at Miami Beach, and someone approached me and was like, oh, well, what are you mixed with? First of all, where's hello, hi, how are you? No, but they jumped to, what are you mixed with? I was very fucking confused, and I was honestly annoyed because I hate questions like that. I genuinely hate them. And I was like, I'm Haitian, I'm black, because that's what I tell people all the time. And that's never in New York. That's never an issue. People, again, it's like, end of conversation, move on. He was like, no, that can't be possible. There has to be more. You have to be mixed with other things. And he went on and proceeded to tell me how in Colombia, there's women who look exactly like me, but they're not black, and they would never identify with being black. I'm like, that sounds like a personal issue, and I don't really know what to tell you.
Now, this is interesting because when you see a lot of Instagram models, and trust me, I've seen a lot of them too, and I'm like, damn, this lady is just too bad, too fine. And every post is aspirational, you know, sitting next to a car or drinking a glass of Hennessy, shopping at Hermes or something like that. But the reality is that a lot of these women are struggling. They don't really have money. And for some of them, what they're trying to do is to find a guy that's going to take care of them and all of their bills. This is something that's just not happening in Miami. It's happening worldwide. But like, let's say, for example, if you're in Uganda, nobody's pressuring you to be so rich and have excessive swag. But if you're in Atlanta, Miami, LA, like what kind of car you drive is important. Where you live is important. You know, you just can't be down bad. So imagine that you are poor, you're not doing well, and you have to actually get out and try to look rich. Women, it's a lot of money to maintain them. You know, you gotta have your hair, you gotta have your nails, you gotta have your shoes, you gotta have your outfits, you know, you gotta feed yourself, pay electricity. I mean, those normal cost of living things are expensive, and especially in the market where 54% of the ladies out there, or even people out there, are doing bad. And if you don't have a whole lot of job skills in a market like this, you know, it just leaves a lot to be desired. And these are the same ladies that are demanding so much from a lot of men. And so as time goes on, men get to notice something. Well, the price is probably dropping. And don't get me wrong, this is not to say that women are not important, because they are. But if you look at what's going on right now with a lot of the Instagram models, I mean, look at what's going on with Cardi B, even though she isn't from Florida. Women are settling for, let's say, less, or let me just say what they consider to be less. You know, they're moving the goalposts now. At first it was, hey, a guy had to have this or that. And when you see what they're actually dealing with, it's nothing like what they want. And what this indicates to me and other men out there is, wait a minute, guess who's the prize? Me. This is not to indicate that women are not the prize, but it does show that women need to be very concerned about what men think. Now, couple the fact that, some women out there are not doing very well. You live in a competitive city where there are other women out there like you. You live in a city in which the cost of living is high, and you're unwilling to, compromise on what a man may need from you. And you're in a situation where you're in the nightclubs every night. You're probably not meeting quality guys. Where does that leave you? It doesn't leave you in a situation where there's strong leverage there. And so what men can do is say, I know she's saying she want that from me, but I can just wait it out. It's no big deal. And typically if you wait it out, you're going to get somebody that's going to deal with you. It's just what happens as long as you keep developing as a man. This is not to put down women. This is just to be honest. Men are starting to see their value more and more each day. I run a platform called the Pan-African Dating Show. And, sometimes we do speed dating events. We're facing the same issues that many speed dating creators or event creators are facing worldwide. Men are just not interested in coming to events to try to spend money on women. They're just not. They would rather not deal with a woman's financial issues when they feel like they're getting a little upside. All right. This is happening in the nightclub industry. This is happening everywhere. It's just too many good looking women now, and guys can just pick and say, yes, okay, I don't really need that right now. I could just focus on something else. And of course, you're going to get the dudes out there that's willing to trick it off. No doubt. Even your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson. But the reality is you can wait. You don't really have to get into a situation where you think you're missing out. I mean, the Dubais of the world are still going to have the bad chicks. The Miamis are still going to have the bad chicks. The Houstons, the LAs, the New York Cities. You're not really missing out on a lot. And a lot of these women are struggling and probably don't have a whole lot to offer you anyway. This is not every woman, but it is a lot of women, okay? And so if you don't really want to inherit a lot of that dry bagging and some of those bills and, uncompromising attitudes, you just don't have to deal with it. And this is better than criticizing them, wanting them to change, asking them why they feel like that. No, we just gonna let your ass sit over there and do it moving. And it's just so easier for guys to just take a flight all the way to the Dominican Republic and get somebody at a fifth of the cost that look just as good. Okay, so guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.